Welcome to VAL'S Live podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it. Welcome to VAL'S Live podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it. Welcome to VAL'S Live podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it. Welcome to VAL'S Live podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it. All right, guys, welcome. Good evening, good night, wherever you're from in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is VVL podcast, social commentary, and more. When they mix it, we fix it. Of course, thanks to all our viewers locked in on Facebook or YouTube right about now. Thank you so much. This is a podcast edition tonight. This is what we'll be discussing: Obeah rings and school violence. So tonight we're going to be asking a few questions. Is there a lack of safety and security in our schools? Has the Ministry of Education turned a blind eye to the recent flare-up of violence in Jamaica? What are you going to do about it, Jamaicans, yard and abroad? We have Shelling Shells in the building, and of course, Geo in the building. Also, we have some VVL items for you. But our main discussion tonight will be about Obeah rings and school violence. Also, I personally feel like the Jamaica Police Federation chairman needs to be sacked. We're going to be getting your, views and responses a little later on from now. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm your boy Andrew Val, and of course tonight we have an interesting show lined up for you. Welcome, Wagwan. We're in the building tonight. Of course, it's another Saturday night. I'm Andrew Val, and of course, thank you so much to our viewers on Hype TV, how you picture entertainment in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. Thank you to all our viewers locked in on Facebook and YouTube. Pia, I see you in the building. Thank you so much, Genie Sweetness. Good night to both of you. Go ahead and share this on your pages right about now. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can grow the movement. And thank you for being a part of our Saturday night show. If you're watching for the very first time, we ask you to please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please. It helps. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm asking y'all right about now. Okay, so it is now time, of course, as I mentioned, just less than a minute ago, that tonight our main discussion and in school: is there a lack of security and safety in our schools? Has the Ministry of Education turned a blind eye to the recent flare-up of violence in schools? Of course, we have Shelling Shells in the building, Geo in the building, and of course we're going to get right to it. Shells, good evening, good night, and welcome to VVL, another great episode. Wagwan.
Hey, Andrew, good night to everybody that's locked in. Good night to the Hype TV family and to our social media. Good night, everybody. To Andrew. And to
All
what
right,
material?
cool. So, I mean, how has your week been? I mean, and I'm here. I was just asking.
I would prefer to just leave the week where it was. I can wait till 12 o'clock come to change to a new week. So I can try off for next week. I hope the boy it better.
All right, cool. So, guys, welcome, welcome,
I
one and
I
all.
wonder if it's
I
your
mean, we're
internet,
having a
Andrew.
bunch of technical issues.
Okay, all
I
right.
think, I think, I think it's my internet, but sometimes these things just kind of act up. I think I should have reset to I should have reset the router. But hey, we're already in our show. All right, cool. So tonight, are you ready for this discussion, Shells? I mean, you're always vocal about, especially these youths, as we'd call them, tiki tiki in clubhouse. You know what I mean? Is there a lack of safety and security in our schools? But of course, that's what our main discussion will be about. But of course, we have to start off with our first segment. Of course, it's all about our social views segment. And tonight we have a few items lined up. And the first social views item that I want to talk about is this particular case where, well, in fact, no, two members of the Mighty Diamonds have passed in, a short space of time. One was gunned down and one an untimely death. But first, I want to talk about, Tabby. First thing first, may his soul rest in peace, or may their soul rest in peace. Love and light to the family. But Shells, we have seen that, not only in schools in Jamaica, there is a flare up of violence, or, I mean, there's gang violence going on, especially in Kingston. Recently, we've seen where I think a number of persons were shot and a few fatally in Marvelly. Now, a prominent reggae artist has actually, passed away due to violence crime in Jamaica. So, what's your reaction to this? Because we are hearing now that this could be, some targeted hit in, pretty much his son was involved in a lot of, criminal activities. And Shells, we talk about the informal culture, and I'm not saying that do we draw the line? When do we say enough is enough? I even see where the Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has been saying, it is now time to have everybody in Jamaica become an informer. But I don't know. It's more than that. But where do we go from here, Shells? What's your reaction to this Mighty Diamond member, former member, the lead singer, being shot and killed because gunmen wanted to get to his son but target him instead?
It's so many things that have gone wrong and is still going wrong. That it sometimes it's so hard to talk about because it's not just one thing. You can't just nail it down and say it's gun violence. It's the it's the mindset of our people. And the thing about it is I think that seeds were planted and they were fertilized and watered and now they are bearing fruit. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when people of prominence gets, unfortunately get killed or something tragic happens to them or violent, then that is the time you hear people of prominence themselves, other movers and shakers in the society come out and they're outraged about the violence. But
Mm-hmm.
when it's centered, especially to the places that the violence is happening, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like inner cities and places like that, then you hear a little talk and whispers, but it's not a loud outcry.
Mm-hmm.
Our people are not concerned enough until it gets to their doorstep. Same informal culture plays a part, and the fact that just another day, just somebody else dead, because people are desensitized and not so much feelings are there anymore amongst us when it comes down to other people. This is no little thing. Guns are not made in Jamaica. Andrew, you hear me say that all the time. They
Mm-hmm.
must have found a way into the country,
Mm-hmm.
right? Must have found a way here.
Mm-hmm.
And now the chicken has come home to roost because we have Jamaicans abroad sending back weapons here.
Mm-hmm.
We have Jamaicans taking back weapons, going for weapons and taking it back into the country.
Mm-hmm.
To do what?
Mm-hmm.
They're not selling it to the top big man. Him can go get him one legal firearm and walk around with it. They're
Right.
selling it to the youths of the country. We see the 14, 15, 16-year-old. They are the gunslingers and guns. First time when you hear about bad man and gunman, you're thinking about a big man.
Mm-hmm.
No little school youth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is where the violence is. When you send a gun into the country or you take a gun here, illegal firearm, and you sell it to the youth, what do you think they're going to do with it? Them not go up a Jacksonville or up a Cherry Garden or up a Beverly Hills and whatever. I mean, go up there, go hunt anybody. I'm not saying anybody from those places don't get killed, but rarely does it happen. It happens more
I
down
think,
on the flat than
I
up
think
there.
I think this slowly creeping uptown though, because even a Clovis in the Gleaner, the cartoon section, they have I think it's a
But it's still amongst themselves, you know.
right.
They now acquire wealth and they're moving up into those places. But when they do what they're doing, they still do it to themselves up there.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do they involve other people who, we call people of prominence.
Right.
So the youth them get a little piece of food and them decide that I'm gonna live where the rich people live. And
Right.
they carry their violence there amongst themselves most of the time. So I'm
Right.
not saying it doesn't happen, but it's so much happening because we talk about social interventions all the time. So it has to be everything coming together to work.
But hold on, we're going to talk about that because I think the government is now initiating something about conflict resolution. We're going to talk about that because I have
They
that.
tried that already.
But well, when we get to that particular topic, then we will dissect it a little bit more.
But
It makes
with
sense. Right?
this now, where
Hold on,
his
Chef.
son, no, I'm talking about Mighty Diamond. I'm not
Yeah,
going there. I'm just saying with
hold
this
on,
happening.
hold on.
Huh?
I wanted to highlight. I kept it up because I wanted to
Oh,
highlight Jeannie's comment where she says, "But if they tell," because I think that's going to segue into our main point now to saying that his son was actually based on report. It is alleged that his son is actually a violent
yes, that's
abuser.
it. Yes, that's
So
what
therefore, you
that's
know,
the word out there.
it's like karma, and it's messed up to say it because it's kind of I'm not being insensitive, but we have to call a spade a spade. And I would ask the question: why aren't parents giving up their children when they know that they're gunmen? Of course, they might not know, but in this day and age, you might know, you might not know. Mighty, Tabby might didn't, might he might not have had any idea that his son was involved. I kind of doubt it. But then again, he probably talked to his son and his son have a mind them own. And it goes to show that sometimes it's either you have to separate yourself from your children who are participating in criminal activities, or you're going to house them, one of the two, because here we are, and I don't know the full hundred as to what happened. I don't know the full story. It's very unfortunate. But Jeannie says that even if you inform, your life is going to be at risk. And Shells, that's the issue.
They say that again. They say something already. I'm gonna say it again. You have 3 youth living in our community. 3 of them are friends, and they have 1 or 2 firearm amongst them, and they live in a community with 300 and something people, and they terrorize everybody there.
Mm-hmm,
That's not the Jamaica I used to know,
mm-hmm,
right? 3 little youth couldn't terrorize one whole community back in the day.
mm-hmm.
So something must be keeping people, because me certain the amount of persons in a community outnumber the gunman them any day, and they know where they live, where they eat, where they sleep. So obviously we are not empowering ourselves enough to know say me not gonna make you terrorize my community where me think it hard to come out of my house when 7 o'clock come. You understand? So that's where it's going, really and truly. People just not care because they're not for them business right now. And for those who are actually partaking in the spoils of what these youths are doing, then that's another reason when they're not going to speak, because they might get for them part out of it.
You said something very important, that it's not at their doorstep. It's not knocking at the door, but it's slowly creeping up upon your turf. And I think that's the most disturbing part of all of this, is that this man who sings so much about consciousness and, positivity and love and peace, and then his offspring, All right. I just want to say big respect to David McLeod. Big up yourself. Of course, thank you so much. The entire Jamaica Issue group. Also, big respect to all our viewers locked in on Hype TV. How you picture entertainment in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. Please, guys, go ahead and share this on your pages because we are getting ready to start. And I'm going to invite real Jamaican in the building. Gia, it looks as if you're sitting very, very low. I'd love for you to be on our level because you're top tier. So welcome to the show, Gio. Wagwan.
So sorry, sir.
Wagwan.
I'm doing fine.
All right, cool. So your reaction, I know you might be taking it from a different angle. We're saying that it's full-time now parents and citizens of Jamaica become informers. I'm not gonna do it like how the justice minister is doing it, but I'm calling on collectively every Jamaican should actually play a role right now because somebody kept their mouth shut, somebody turned a blind eye to what was happening. Here we have a prominent music person from a very, very, very big reggae group losing his life because of his son, it is alleged. Gio, what's your reaction?
Well, I don't know. All right. I'm just being practical about it. And I remember I said on show once that you're never really going to have that actually happening for a number of reasons that Shell's outlined earlier. But outside of that, when it comes to policing, when you have people who were raised amongst the criminals who befriended them, where them give them friend a blind, it just doesn't work out the same way, and that's exactly what's going on right now. Well, in some cases, separate and aside from that, as Shell's rightly pointed out, a lot of these parents, they will never actually condemn the actions of their children because one, they live below that poverty line, and as long as the spoils of whatever it is that's taking place is coming home to them, and they're not privy to or party to the actual acts, like everyone thinks that their child is innocent, right? Until that point when someone gets shot, whether or not a police kill them or somebody else kill them, and then everybody wants justice and everybody ready for Black Road, and you always hear the number one statement when it comes to the police: we never catch the gunman, them yet they escaped in nearby bushes. And when it comes to the people and when the community, we know the gunman, them are good youth and them never do nothing wrong. So it's just not gonna happen. Like, it's a sad statement, but it's just how I see it. It's not going to happen.
All right, cool. Let's run over to the comment section because some interesting comments are coming in. Jeannie says that very good point. Shells, why would I tell if I'm benefiting from your negative behaviors? That's another thing. Gio I actually spoke on that. You know what I mean? It's me keep my mouth because you and me are friend. Once it's not affecting me, it's the neighboring community, our country. I don't care. Queen Shaq says that what if he was an absent father and never really knew his son? Too many fatherless youths. One thing though, Queen Shaq, is that these gunmen, they're not stupid. It looks as if this man is very close to his son because if, let's say, he's an absentee father and, they wouldn't target him. They would probably try the mother or try a relative. That's how I would probably look at it, in my opinion. So maybe not. But when they try to retaliate, when it's reprisal or whatever it is, they always try to hit where it hurts. And I think, a good point, though, he might be absent. As we said, we don't know the full 100. I mean, the news media, they haven't been reporting it in terms of how we would like for them to report it. It's based on the information that they get from the police, and they have to do responsible journalism. So that's pretty much, what it is. Where do we go from here, guys? To wrap up this quick segment, where do we go from here? Sure, say what you're going to say, but I want to close this off with where do we go from here?
Well, I was just gonna say that there's so many different things that would complete the whole cycle and to make the change. Is that when I look at the justice system, when I look at there is no deterrence for a lot of these criminal acts that are being perpetuated by these criminals. They go to prison and they're popping champagne in there and having party in prison. They still have access to cell phone and every god else thing else that you can think of, sending out it's from jail and doing everything else that you can think of. Send in that prison. And they still have access to the world to do criminal things. So when you think about it, it's a whole pyramid. Everything does crash. And in order to fix it up, they have a really, really big build from the ground back up to make sure that it is built and things are put in place. So it's a whole heap of something, Andrew, and that's unfortunate,
Gio, good.
Oh, you want my views? Okay.
Yeah, where do we go from here? I mean, I'm
See,
trying to wrap it up.
all right. So you see, even when you look at restructuring, even if you were to take the entirety of the system and say, all right, then boom, we're gonna shell it, and then we're gonna, oh, no pun intended, shells. We're gonna shell it and then try and build everything from the ground up. What you're gonna have happening is this, right? The majority of the police force is made up by people who were at some point, I would say, for the most part, hungry. And every hungry man can sympathize and empathize with another hungry man. So even if you take another 70,000 of the hungry man them and decide, say, we're going to train all on for ton police, it'll be the same thing. You're gonna, it's a cyclical event, right? You take a bunch of people who are deprived of opportunity and putting them in a position of power. Some of them are going to abuse it. Some of them are going to then turn around and, aid other people who them know are criminal. It'll keep going because from the foundation, it just kind of rotten. It now make no sense. And then from the top, it even worse rotten because the people who are lead now make no sense. So it's almost like a snake trying to eat its tail. It's just never gonna end. So it's gonna keep going around.
Right, right. I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. I want to highlight this comment right here, though. It's up on our screen. Respectfully, this is what we get when we promote a bad man culture. The youths are idle with no direction. Respect is non-existent, and everyone seems to be fair game. That's true. And this is not a Jamaican right here. He's not a Jamaican. I think he's from Guyana. And I think it's a widespread thing across the Caribbean where we're seeing violence is actually, becoming a thing. Not like it was under the rug. It's not like we were under a rock. But hey, we're talking about Jamaica here. So, Marshall, big respect and thank you for your comment. Let's talk about this right now. Everyone in Jamaica should be an informer. My view is I think that if politicians don't become their own watchdog, I don't think it is fair to call on Jamaicans to become informers. Yes, we want them to report. We want them to give up the gunmen. We want them to give up the guns. But Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has taken a fresh swipe at Jamaica's prevailing farm of a dead culture, declaring that all citizens who speak out against all acts of criminality in their communities should be praised for their bravery in doing so. But Jeannie asked that question: where do we go after we report criminal activities? Where do we go after we report a criminal? There is nothing that is there to protect a citizen. I mean, you can do it anonymously and hope that your name isn't called back, and maybe some representative would come in the ghetto and say, yo, in your community and say, yo, say Shells and Gio come make a report. And I think that's why people are afraid to come forward. But I kind of feel like this JLP administration, they just throw words out there because, word is wind. But I don't think that they have a practical approach. I don't think they have a proactive type of, thought process that moves forward. They're more reactive. And I feel like this is another PR stunt because we've been saying this for a number of years, Jamaica to become informers. But when you inform, what form of protection do you have? Come on, Mr. Justice Minister.
Andrew, like, say for me, actually not plugging in my laptop to the power source. I was saying to myself, when we start the show, I go come on in my introduction, I say, which political pundit / politician are we going to break down today for their folly ways? And see, they will find the target already, because me want to know when politicians are going to start being farm upon politician. I mean, just to say to people a while now, I could never sit in parliament because the minute me find out there's something I go on, I would be that person that come out. I mean, I say nothing allegedly. I'm going to say, this is what was told to me and this person said it. Mm-hmm. People always want to say people for name names, right? But even the people in when I leadership, name the names themselves. Yes, at the ground level, you want people to be informants so that you can get guns and criminals, like hardened criminals who murder people on the streets. But from the top, you want to get people who commit white collar crimes and rob the people them tax dollars and perpetuate the system of lack that the people are living in, which is reinforcing their decision to go out and go do something wrong. And part of the reason why I highlight it because a couple of weeks ago, I watched this thing on YouTube where somebody, it was one of the smartest pieces of reporting I've ever seen come out of Jamaica, which is saying a lot, from a YouTuber, went into whichever community them going, I don't know if you see it, and they interviewed several different gunmen under anonymity, and the video went viral, had a couple 100,000 views, well, because the aim was to try and understand what brought them to the point that they decided that this was the life. And from my understanding of how they put themselves forward as dunce, and some of them did sound, I could tell that they understood from a moral level that some of the things that they were doing was wrong. From an economic standpoint, the reasons why they did some of the things that they did, and some of them, they were just bereft of anything at all that made them seem like even human beings. One of them saying, "Oh, sometimes he was born feet," and then another one, he spoke about how his upbringings and the environment around him made him. And I'm like, there was conscious thought coming from somebody who is telling you that I kill people and make God sort them out because they never behave good down here. So.
But the thing, though, Gio, I don't want to stray away from it, though, even though we're calling on leaders to take that first step. I agree with that 100%. But we can't only put the burden on them, because at the end of the day, we know that back in the day, we have heard stories of politicians contributing to the growth of this monster, the nurturing of this monster. And it might sound positive when we say growth and nurturing, but of course, that is what it is. I don't need to get in detail with that. But at the end of the day, though, we as citizens of Jamaica, we have to, whether home and abroad, we have to take a stand as well.
Well, Andrew,
do I what?
You know, remember solving crime pays.
Well, that's it.
We had Crime Stop. We had
on.
Crime Stop, and Crime Stop was an incentivized way for people to inform and get
That's
money.
what I'm saying, but hold on, that's where I'm getting at, bro. It's not like the government, administrations over the years haven't tried to do that, but it was just mouth talk. It was just sound bites. It was just PR stunt. All of that was. So that's what I said. Let's put that aside and let's focus on how me, you, and Shells, me personally, and I'm going to say this on TV and on the internet, that I'm afraid if me first turn in farmer, me I go afraid. But we all have to try and play our part. Because me no want to call a name and then them come kick off my door and kill me. But until we as citizens also, like Shell say, when did it get to a point where 3 criminals, 3 little boy, make one whole community full of thousands of people start run up and down? When? How do we fix it? I get it. We have to put fire under them skin, and of course, but as I say, we have a role to play too. And as Marshall says, that is the bad man culture, is the acidic culture. I hate to repeat what such man says. I really hardly watch his shows, but whenever I do, it's very, very important. And we just have to get that. Anyhow, let's move on. There's trouble brewing in CARICOM. Have you heard about it? There's trouble brewing in CARICOM. Everywhere Jamaica go, Jamaica create problem. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's focus on this one. So Antigua and Barbuda is described as a monumental error. The decision by Jamaica to announce the nomination of its foreign affairs and foreign trade minister, Kamina Johnson Smith, for the post of Commonwealth Secretary General. And I'm laughing at the Commonwealth Secretary General, but yet Jamaica wants to become a republic, but they're still trying to nuff up in the Commonwealth community. Anyhow, Antigua Prime Minister Gaston Brown told the Caribbean Media Corporation that Jamaica, yes, Gio, coffee time, that Jamaica was party to a recent Caribbean Community CARICOM consensus endorsing the re-election of Baroness Patricia Scotland for the position, adding the PM said that Jamaica's proposed candidate for Commonwealth Secretary General is a monumental error which could only serve to divide the Caribbean. I sense a little bit of jealousy in that, and I also sense a little bit of betrayal in that. But I will let you guys go first, and I think I'll start with Gio. Gio, I hear you cough. Do you think that Jamaica shouldn't have backpedaled? Do you think that Jamaica betrayed them after, they're all coming together as a group and coming to a consensus, coming to an agreement to say, okay, we will re-elect, the sitting GenSec? Do you think that, what's the aim? What's the move? Do you think that it's bad on Jamaica's part?
Personally, how I look at it is as simple as until the people in the CARICOM community understand what Jamaica's position is on the Commonwealth itself and the monarchy that is in England, then they should really like not go with the move because at the same time we obviously have a split. We have split factions down here. One half of the political leadership seems to be for, and one half's against. The very person who was saying that they're going to make the move to have Jamaica become a republic is a sitting member of the Queen's Privy Council, which makes no sense to me. And we have not gotten rid of the other vestiges of the monarchy, so to speak. So at the same time, you can't be against something and be for it at the same time. It's an oxymoronic state of existence. And oh, sorry, wait, I'm not using the big words. It's hypocrisy. And it just don't make no sense. Is either you're up on the common bandwagon or you're not. If you're on, then sure, fine. Go on with it, Miss Johnson Smith. If not, then go on. Jamaica state right now is too ambiguous. We have nobody from Jamaica a hold us spot there.
I want to ask Shells, what's your take on Jamaica backpedaling? Jamaica going back to their agreement to say, hey, let's push our foreign minister up in that position. What's the reaction?
What the actions of Jamaican government is like somebody talking to you in a language that you don't speak, you don't understand, and it's foreign to you. And yes, you're there, and because you don't want to say you don't understand, you're nodding and smiling and agreeing to the wrong thing. That's not, it's you don't understand what you're doing, it, and you're looked on as a fool because you didn't say you don't understand, but you keep agreeing to what is being said, only to find out in the back end of it that right now I'm in a pickle. They are so confused. Have you ever stuck your finger in the middle of an ant hill? Like ants making nest?
No.
You've never seen a group of ants and something drop or something drop and everybody running in different directions? Very confusing time for the government on more than one occasion. It's happening with crime and Joe, and as you can see, it's happening with this. It's like they don't know where they are. And if you don't have no head or you can't find your place, we are in a very, very dire strait if you don't know who you are. Jamaica need to know who they are before they can put their foot anywhere and represent for anything. Two-sided machete. This now right here, so.
Right.
Two-sided machete. It's either you are or you are not. It's either you can do it or you can't do it.
Flip-flopping, right.
Yes, while you're flip-flopping. No, make it look clown out. Like a clown business.
I agree. All right, so here is my part of jealousy. You know that Jamaica is, and I'm going to say this, it is alleged, and we have heard it a lot of times where a lot of other Caribbean islands kind of hate on Jamaicans in terms of everything. I've been in rooms. Yeah, I've been in rooms where I've heard a lot of other islanders speak bad about Jamaica, but I get it. I get the point, because he said that they all met and they all come to an agreement to say, okay, we will re-elect, the sitting Gensec, and all of a sudden, a few weeks later, a few days later, a few months later, Jamaica say, hey, no, we're gonna put up our girl, you know what I mean, and let her sit in there. And I'm trying to think like, why? The main focus now should be moving ahead. Which, let me say this, that whole stepping away from the monarch is foolishness. Becoming a republic is foolishness, because Jamaica is still going to be a part of the Commonwealth, just like our friends who recently step away from the monarch and now a republic. They're still a part of the Commonwealth. And who heads the Commonwealth? Britain, the monarch. So me and Gio part ways, but yet we're still sharing the spoils and still sharing interest. And me and Gio still a meet and one in our community. We part ways. It's like a marriage then, or a marriage and you have a child involved, and once there's a divorce, y'all are still tied. Why am I still tied to Britain if I want a separation? Why? So anyhow, that's just my
take. Andrew, they have a child together.
Yep.
Why pan?
Our
Why pan?
children. Probably have
Why
children
pan?
together.
I keep saying this
Why
to
pan that
people.
chat there?
No, but I keep saying this to people. Like, what are we talking about? You know, Andrew Holness is selling out Jamaica. I don't. No. Andrew is not selling out Jamaica. Jamaica was already packaged and sold. Andrew Holness and any prime minister, they're pretty much just doing the distribution. You
just a finish the lyrics.
Exactly.
It just a finish the lyrics.
Because really and truly, we're not independent. So how is it that we are complacent and sell out? Remember, Jamaica is not a free country. As much as we want to look at it and say, oh, we were born here, we only have a birthright to that island. Nothing else.
You can't really have a birthright to something that belongs to somebody else either. So yeah, there's that.
Birthright meaning that me born there. So that's the birthright I'm talking about.
No, you're only born there still because if Jamaica still belongs to the Queen, I fear people and birthright, not yours.
Well, you know, if all right, cool, all right. I can't fight that. That's one thing me can't fight. So you
have to remember that you're the descendant of some foreigners.
That's true.
Exactly. If shells come, Andrew, that's like saying if shells come on my house, I have a baby. Our son forget my house a minute. Come on, none of that work.
Keisha Nicole says we're not divorced, just separated.
Just separated. We're not separated either, Nicole. That's we are saying no. We're not separated either.
That's
support. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Wait. You know what one? The child support part. Because I've been having this concern back and forth more. I was like, what's the monetary benefit that Jamaica has been receiving from England? Because I know they make contributions, you know. Mm-hmm. But more know if the child support equal because at the child labor make England economy reach right there in the year. The Prince talking the other day, I'm tank the penny them for all of the work with them do because we make them live the way them live. The child support not equal at all. It's not equal.
I tell you. Anyhow, we're gonna move on from that. There is trouble brewing in CARICOM. There's also the brewing for now. Let me see if I can find it. There is trouble in St. Vincent
Andrew, glitch for you to show us?
The entire camp.
Andrew, you have to repeat everything you just said. I don't know. Andrew, have to find a way to boost him internet. Something is going on. Andrew.
Let's
Oh, the bad charge here. Hey, the money at the bus.
Are we back?
Are you back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. All right, cool. I mean, because the thing is that I don't get off screen. I only hear Shells talking and I'm saying, you know, I'm here and
you were off screen.
I
guess
everything went at one point, but
so on the upload end, I get it. All right, so this is the next story I want to move over to right now, and I think it's a very interesting story. Let's take a listen.
Madam Speaker, I charge you to address the Honorable Minister who makes these cynical comments about my medical attention to resist being asinine in his comments, because that's what he's doing. You do not make snide remarks about people's medical needs. If he were close to me, he would get a Chris Rock special. Because he is not foolish. He is not foolish.
Honorable members, let us observe proper parliamentary language.
So we are going like say Jamaica alone have politicians who go on like them nah no behavior.
No, I tell you, boy, like this Saint Vincent, this Vincentian man is a gangster in Parliament, man.
Yo, I
Man
can't
say,
believe
yo,
this.
if you were near me, you would get a Chris Rock special.
What is the Chris
A
Rock
box in
special?
your face.
Oh, okay, all right. He just I know.
Well, all them Will Smith.
So it is identical to what happened at the Oscars, right? Because Chris was making fun of Jada's alopecia situation.
No.
And this man in Parliament was talking about the minister's health condition in a way in which he found it offensive. Hey, politicians not easy, you know, brother.
Them doesn't make you know, so them watch TV too. That's all. I'm a human being and I watch TV too.
Yeah, but come on, even the Speaker of the House is saying to them, like, yo, let's observe
But
our code of conduct.
we don't know if she said use parliamentary vernacular.
Just like that.
I don't see which part of Chris Rock's special is outside the vocabulary of a parliamentarian. He didn't say anything, he just said a Chris Rock special.
But
no, he said no.
Exactly, sure. Hold on, I don't know what Sherry's gonna say, but sorry, the code of conduct is not to offer anybody a slap. Wouldn't you think that?
No,
that's what I was going to allude to.
I know, but in his exact words, he did not say that. He said a Chris
He
Rock
said
special.
that. He said if you were near me, I would offer you a Chris Rock special.
Special, exactly. He didn't say a slap.
Right.
A Chris Rock special.
Yes, he used words that you would have to, but everybody knew what he mean.
It could be a drink.
Just saying that let's use parliamentary law, like tell the man no, you don't offer violence to people.
It could be a drink. It could be a special.
It could be Chris Rock on ice. Okay, all right.
Exactly.
But I just play it to show that when we are talking about Jamaica, this is not just Jamaica alone. The entire
you see why the youths are the way they are. Look at the leaders that we have.
Exactly.
All over the world. Because America just got rid of one idiot. Right? And put another one in. And look at us with our idiots here in Jamaica. And then you get a next one over there. So, like these are the people that our children actually.
Remember say Andrew still have to live there.
When I come to look for me?
No, for him.
Hey. You notice that me stay far from
our children basically don't have no role model. And I use, you know what I mean when Jamaican people say that, like children them not have no role model and anybody to exemplify. I will see it every day. Those are the people they follow.
Hey, you know what the funny thing is? The funny thing is this, right? I was talking to my wife about the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock affair. One, me disappointed now, Will, because
that sound like you believe. That sound like you believe it actually happened in Gio.
Oh no, it actually did happen. But the whole, comedians get paid for whatever. I mean, even if it was staged and it never really did happen, when you look on it from a how far we have come perspective, the only thing it does, which a lot of people highlight, is that it paints the perfect picture of how we are seen by people who do not look like us. Angry black people. So even if it did fake, or if it and it's staged, it still happened in front of the entire world. And only thing we look like now are people who don't belong anywhere. But then again, that is by their standards. But separate and aside from that still, I went back and I watched Will Smith's series that he did for YouTube Originals called Best Shape of My Life. And he said it himself. And I said, look how this man forecasted his own demise. Because he said that anger and all these things can only lead to destruction. And I'm like, so you said this in a series that you made about yourself and how in control you need to be, and then you didn't follow your own advice and you went and destroyed your career on international TV. But yeah.
Anyhow, me and Shells, we talk about this on the Entertainment Club. I don't want to get into all of that because they have to prove that it's fake. Or it's
Well, not rich people business. Me not business with it. I really care. I really care not to speak about it. If I could not, I wouldn't speak about it. Cause me couldn't care less, honestly.
They say I'm rich enough for box. Anybody want box?
No, rich people problems. Chris rich, them rich. What me are doing it? Me find whether I fake or not. Like as me see it pop up on my
but you know, Chris Rich.
Of course. So Chris, wait, Chris what?
You just screw past it.
Chris comfortable. Chris
No,
comfortable.
well on man, that's what I see like that. Well on, me like that. Chris Rich, them rich, Will Rich, over. All right, me don't want to talk about that, but anyway, let's move on. Yeah, Chris Rich, Will Rich. I feel like that brother need to get fired. Things very irresponsible of the chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation to Shells. Shells, sorry, I actually muted you. Yes, Shells, go ahead.
I was saying I can't see what the caption is there.
Right, I'm gonna remove it. Government accused of making criminals out of cops. So the Police Federation chairman blamed poor wages for corruption in the force. Right. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. How is it that you are the chairman of a police federation? And this is where politics now, and I don't like when people play politics because this is all politically motivated. What about integrity? When did we lose that?
This is such a farce because I remember many years ago when I was helping to tutor some students who were at what their name again? The other university, the bus. And
NCU? Where?
NCU? The one that they run a New Kingston, they so they get one next branch. And they quickly became a thing.
No, it's not clicking.
No, just all right. But them have a university where they bus up around the time. Like I was helping to tutor students around during business administration, a couple other subjects, and sociology. And there was a lady, she was DSP at the time. She ran off out a crossroads side. And all of us became quick friends. And she told us one day that at that point in time, it's a long time ago, she was advising her police officers, say, all them forget a car. And this was the incentive behind, right? She said, no matter what kind, just get one.
I remember that.
At the point in time, they were all being given an additional $58,000 for traveling and all the maintenance expenses if they had a vehicle. So she had encouraged all of her officers to get a car. There's so many benefits out there. When them did them housing program and whatnot, police officer and nurse, I did the first people get considered to get the house and all that. They work in an environment that is filled with benefits. And if there's any kind of anything to any effect of somebody saying who is the most likely candidate to receive a house, even if I'm not on a housing program, but to receive a house based on any kind of mortgage that they qualify for, a police officer would be there because they're civil servants and they have additional benefits that extend to them. They have additional things that them can get, whether or not it be from housing trust or banks or whatever, but them have benefits where other regular people cannot go out there and stretch them and reach for. You can't blame poor wages when you have entire packages set aside for you if you even buy one car on top of the money where your car go home already. That's foolishness. Most people become police and they become police because they want the money to begin with, because they want to get paid. That's it. You can't blame the government for making criminals out of them when them go in there with a criminal mindset already and all them can't get money.
I just can't wrap my mind around that. Like how you as the chairman utter such irresponsible. I can't even say it on TV, but me I could just kind of pretty top crap.
Excrement.
How? How, bro? How?
Goes back to the type of leaders, once again, the type of leaders that we have, Andrew. Goes back to that. Because in all fairness, and if you go and you do your research, you realize that being poor or lack of certain things is not the reason why people kill people or commit crimes. Because to the type of crimes that we are seeing, if people were just stealing food, it would have been bad or not so bad. And the more money people get, it seems, is the more crime they commit. A lot of people is committing crimes. A lot of these youths rich.
Thank you.
Them have
Thank you.
millions. So if money was the problem, they would have been
Thank you.
all right. There would be no need to go commit other crimes because you're no rich. So being poor was the reason why you started committing crime. Now you're rich and you have millions, you have a big house, you have a couple car, and you have enough girl. Why are you still committing crime if money was the only problem? Why not legitimize some business and move ahead with it? Why are police men forming gangs? And we see police officers being arrested for trafficking drugs and being in lottery scamming. It's all over the news. A young police officer that's in training school gets $70,000. Yeah, and the money that's stipend, but you get money for train. Draw me up out of, as they drop out of school, what are they getting? $130,000. I'm not certain of the figure for a police officer that just graduated from school. A lot of people are getting $30,000 per month for their salary.
Exactly.
So that cannot be a reason why a police officer would turn to criminal behavior.
Exactly.
And you can't blame the government for this. They need to go take several seats, run a one place, all the way run a one part and extract himself from the position we have.
I think he should. I think he should be fired. I think that they need to find a replacement ASAP and fire this man because he failed.
It don't look good. For truth. It neither look good nor sound good. So when I say Andrew, police them have a right for turn criminal card and pay,
yes.
Right?
So, and in other words, him kind of putting foot in my mouth about, oh, I'm not endorsing, nor I'm not saying it is okay, but if the government, you know, sometimes when I have online discussion with individuals, Shells, I make it clear that when I talk about the opposition, I go hard, and there's a reason. When I talk about JLP with the government, I go hard. But you know what I dislike about the opposition? I dislike about comrades. Comrades act as if they are the clean linen in the closet. None of them not clean. No labor right not clean. No PMP not clean. And every time I'm having a discussion, I always somehow kind of go over to someone's profile and to check which side of the political aisle them set up shop. And 90% of the time when I see anybody hitting out against the government, when you check them political affiliation, they are for the opposition. So I get to a point where I say, okay, I can see where politics is being played. And the same happens for the labor rights. In Jamaica, we're very tribal. And this is straight tribal talk as a person holding a very high and important position when it comes to the security of the country. And you're going to make this reckless type of argument? Me just can't wrap my mind around this. All because of politics? All because you might dislike bro God? All because you might dislike the government? So in other words, you're telling police, it is okay to go and steal because me get it. I understand the government now go no nothing. So me understand. Come first slap on the wrist and go drink some sugar and water and eat half a bread and call it a day and continue robbers on the can rob because once the government you, that's what he's saying. Indirectly. That's what he's translating to these corrupt cops. I call him a crooked cop and he should be fired. That's just my 2 cents.
Because let's be honest, Andrew, the pay, the salary that you hear, like, you know, it's coming on to, it's April now and they're going to talk about salary negotiations and everything. Let's be honest, there are increments that's added to the salaries of, you know, civil servants that sometimes bump it up make it not so much of a bad pay. And yes, if you equate it to your Caribbean counterparts or the US per se, yeah, it's nothing compared, but it can
Enough.
live off and have something else in the back if you live a certain kind of way and be patient, because they do get incentives. Now, Gio, as a nurse who was in the government system, I don't know what you talk about when you did say what you say, but a lot of them something there are just words. They'll tell you that these housing projects and whatever will be made available and a cycle. And sometimes the money that you qualified for can't buy them same house there because they are not affordable housing. So whosoever can afford them, go buy them. So it's usually just talk. And people, there's like myself who live over in our one part road and one place, no housing project no over here so away. So there are no certain benefits that you should get for the low salary where we get is not there. And that is the reason why so many of the nurses are fly out.
What is that? I know that, I may understand that. I may know, so when it comes to that these two particular branches of the civil service, is always a who get first preference. And I know that the police generally get preference over the nurses because the Nurses Association of Jamaica always have to lick out and I try to fight for all of the millions and millions in back advance salary and rate where all of the nurses are due. And I do understand that, but I get that. But I was only speaking to the nature of the benefits, not saying that they actually exist, because obviously when Bro got this time, they made the 70,000 house, they've never even done 10. So, so the house them neither here nor there. Because I say, you know, that's the point it out. I do understand that.
No, but in all fairness, still, Bro God, I've seen like a 3 or 4, published reports that Bro God has actually issued keys to residents. But we all know
keys
how that
to
works.
what?
So
Bro got make 10,000 foundation out of 10,000 foundation in finished couple thousand house. Where the 70,000 there?
At least, I'm being a labor right now. At least houses are big.
Listen, if I not tell us, then they can say what a thing they were portion and then they throw up where everybody live there, the blacks them house they build too. And the whole of them out there live free because when you drive go out there, so you see one whole big giant block and be a switch plug in and no meter not there. Some don't know who collect that bill there, but the whole of them are live free. Exactly. Exactly. So house did build this.
I rate Portia because Portia does the work. She definitely did play her part. But anyhow, I'm not getting into that politics. And I don't play politics. I don't talk politics. All right, let's
play politics. But nobody.
Everybody tell me something was going to representational politics. Me.
I lie. Anytime you do it, Shell, anytime you do it, me don't know you again.
Did you? Hold on.
Anytime you do it.
Oh, you say that?
I remember.
All right, go on, man.
Exactly.
Go on, go do it.
All right, cool. So let's segue into our second segment. That was social views, where we highlight a few news and items that actually surfaced on social media. A few that I personally choose to talk about because them kind of, rub me the wrong way. But anyhow, Shells and Gio, thank you for your participation. First segment, thank you to our viewers. Thank you for all your comments. And it's now time to check out our second segment. It is now time for our main discussion. Obeah rings and violence in schools. And here are the questions. Is there a lack of safety and security in our schools? And has the Ministry of Education turned a blind eye to the recent flare-up of school violence in Jamaica? That's what we're going to be discussing tonight. And to kick things off right about now, we're going to play this excerpt from TVJ News about guard rings. So let's take a listen. And then when we come back, we're going to discuss this.
We go to a primetime news special report on guard rings in school. Is it a false sense of security? Anthony Log explores the issue and more in this 3-part series.
These rings are not just a fashion statement. For some, it does mean much more.
You see them with at least 2 guard rings. And they will tell you that their guard rings are fully loaded. When you ask, fully loaded with what? The guzu, quote unquote, Obeah.
We're told that in some instances, boys pay close to $2 to be placed inside the ring, which they believe provides them with some form of protection. It's why they guard it with their life. William Nib High School in Trelawney came into the news recently, not just for the fatal stabbing of a student by one of his peers.
It's alleged the two were fighting over a ring. Now, as to what type of ring?
It is alleged that the ring involved in this unfortunate incident was ritualized. And then persons are speculating now that a part of the price for the use and possession of this ring was perhaps the life of this child.
Over in Hanover, this revelation from a teacher who asked us to conceal his identity.
They refuse to take off these guard rings. They will tell you that their life depends on these rings, and you dare not to try to take it from them because it will pose a problem.
William Nib, on the other hand, has been taking a zero-tolerance approach to rings and other jewelry. However, Vice Principal Webster Thompson pointed to this reality.
When the seizures started, they started to hide them. And therefore, many rings could still be on the compound, but they no longer wear them.
It's alleged that most schoolboys who wear these guard rings are scammers. We put the issue to a student who admitted that he's involved in the lottery scamming.
When I check it out, me will take up my money to me, I do know the guard ring thing. You understand? Because I waste the money and you will be there for right. So your phone and on rest when you can't see Almighty right, so Almighty said you did do your thing. They don't care. It's all about making the money and protection for them. They will tell you if a dirt.
Stark reality from administrators out west, and already there have been talks about what needs to be done to tackle the issue of guard rings in schools as fears grow over violence among children. But it appears the phenomenon could be here to stay. Christopher Charles is professor of political and social psychology at the University of the West Indies.
It's actually impossible to erase them from the culture. It's embedded in the culture. It's a part of the African retention.
Mr. Charles went further.
So if you have someone with deeply held ancestral beliefs who's from a family that creates violence producers, then any youngster whose guard ring is stolen, is missing, or someone lost it, they are going to get angry and aggressive because the guard ring, right, in their minds, an important protective gear.
In part 2, do guard rings give a false sense of protection?
Once me give you a guard ring, it protect you from any form of evil whatsoever.
And
all right. So, guys, it is not uncommon for Jamaicans to actually have some form of protective gear based on what the professor just said. Some Jamaicans have it in the form of a chain, some carry their Bibles, some have cloth, all sorts of things. So why are we acting as if this is unusual in Jamaica? What is unusual about it? What is unusual about kids having guard rings? I mean, parents would give their children chains or bracelets or earrings or whatever as a form of, a protective gear. So I guess because they're using it now for protection to make money and scamming, that's what make it a bad thing. Who wants to go first? Because it's not unusual. Obeah is a well-known practice in Jamaica.
That is true, but when me a little boy, my mother never looked at me and said, that chaparita, yeah, I got stop. He, she, and the old lady don't come close to it. I just wore it because it was jewelry. And then again, as a little boy, anything me get to put on, I would put it on, and nobody never come to me with any, it will protect you. It was just, you have your pitney, you get him a chain, you get him a watch, you get him a bracelet. That's about it. I think when it gets to the point where you have high school students who are paying upwards of $200,000 at that point, listen, if you're in a high school and you're a scammer and you make $200,000, you don't need to be in school. Just go about your business and wait for the police to catch you when or if them catch you. Because you're there in a school and I try to stab up at a picnic while you pay $200,000 for oil ring.
That's a lot.
Really? Is that a prerequisite to qualify for the gathering? You will be a man tell you say, listen, young man, I'm gonna give you this gathering, but you have to stay in a school until school done. Or it not gonna work. And then you go home and scam at night time. Really? That's definitely what makes it bad when you have high school children who are participating in the scamming wholesale. I take it out of control. It's not even so much the gathering itself, but the fact that you have teenagers who are in school who are participating in scamming, like that should be a bigger concern. Like, really? That is the point for me, because if the ring aware, the ring aware. If they might hide it, they might hide it, right? But the fact that these children are actively participating in criminal activity.
It's the purpose of getting the ring that's the main problem for you, right?
All right, so let's think about it, guys. In all honesty, I'm going to tell you where this thing come from. But the criminals, Gio, what you just say, are school youth them. Most of them are school youth. Look at the ages of most of these criminals that are either caught or they are dead because they're killed by either their friends, the cronies, I should say, or by the police, or the rest are in prison. 16. It starts at even 12-year-olds. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Then you have 21. They're all youngsters. They're all youngsters. So they go to school in the daytime and scam in the daytime at school too. It is, and then people tell you that the music is not influential. So the first part of what we talk about, we spoke about just now, in terms of everything that is adding to this violence in the country, this is a part of it. This is a part of it. These are the criminals. They have the guns. They are least likely to be stopped and searched by a police officer because a school youth in a school. But a him a scam a school. And them a scam. They are the ones who are profiting from criminal activities. Let's not hide the wide in the sun like ostriches. Now, who can remember being children? Not me. And their parents, not me. Let me tell myself, because I'm not grow so, I'm not grow my pit to them. So I have seen, since I have gone to have sense, red things being put on babies. Put on them on, if a girl and put it in them ear, tie a ribbon. Mothers are told to wipe their hands in there and wipe it on the baby's forehead in the sign of this or that. So it has been entrenched in us that we should have somebody that we must believe in. That's why we have churches. You must believe in somebody. That's why we have politicians. Because you must believe in somebody who's going to either protect you or save you. And that is part of the foolishness why these young men feel like guarding. So you have some men somewhere telling them that, oh, you know how much time police drive past me? You know how much time so and so see me sit down. So like, I think one man was giving his examples. I hear them story them many times. How much time man come to kill them and man no kill them, not realizing that they thought is a guard ring protecting them when really and truly it's not. Or it's their belief, I don't know. Who am I to say? But look at who people believe in, because everybody have a belief system. And when these young men look around them, and the criminal them and the artists them see as role model in a jail. No, you know. At them role model, at them see everybody a talk about and a highlight. Every time they look around them, these are the people being glorified. In their community, these are the persons most spoken about and feared and revered. So when you think them are going to turn, that them are going to turn, no one year what teacher say, I don't know if you saw the video with the youth, him and policeman a fight and the policeman had hell getting the better of him. School youth. That them I get it from. So I just so it just deep rooted things that are now bearing fruits and kind of difficult because them are the criminals. I know so big man a criminal against some of our community. I look for some youth for turning a criminal.
So before
you send your youth to school, Andrew.
Sure, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
I'm hearing you now. I heard I was saying something, you saying something, so.
All right, go ahead. No, you finish. Say what you were saying.
No, I was saying that you have a child, your son is 15 and you send him to school, and there are 10 other boys in his class. Three of them are actually, you know, them have everything. Them drive come to school and they talk about lavish. I know I go on, but your son might very likely see them as role models too. And want to. I was driving past a place in a jail where they no one taxi. I hear one song I play, and the song I talk about same gathering and some goat brother and some something. I may ask the driver, say, what kind of song that? He say yes. And him tell me the artist name. So and them something you hear the pin of them I listen to like.
Man, I
And people are gonna say boy Ray and Tay and whatever, and if you talk too loud, if it's sharp. So I don't know.
I'm glad to never in that music business because I could never make sense.
Huh?
So I'm glad to in that music business. So I'm glad to in that music business because I never make sense.
Are we all still here?
Weird. You not hear me?
Me alone there here, I'm not certain. Jay, you there here?
Yes, I am here.
Like magic.
Can you hear me?
All right. So what were you saying?
Yeah, hear me now? Yeah, hear me now?
You still look good. Oh boy.
All right, I'm gonna jump out and jump.
Technology at its best.
All right. So we're
All
having.
right. Technology at its best, I tell you.
Charles, are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear, Andrew.
All right, cool. So I guess we're having.
Are you hearing
me? Yeah, I'm hearing you.
You're hearing me?
We're having some.
Can you hear me, Andrew? All right.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I was gonna say.
I think there's a delay. I think there's a delay. All right, cool. So they're gonna rejoin us. All right. So we're kind of talking about, is it unusual for Jamaicans to guard themselves? And it comes in the form of either a ring, because we have heard, or when we're growing up, we hear about lodge, man them in a lodge and different type of brotherhood. And ones would wear their ring or a chain or a bracelet or whatnot. And when you go to church, they always give you, something to kind of protect yourself, and it's like a shield against, evil. We sometimes pray for money, we pray for abundance, we burn candles for, for wealth and strength and all of that. So it is not unusual. The practice isn't unusual. But as Gio said, that when it comes down to, kids doing this because of scamming, and then it becomes, covered with all sorts of negative energy and vibe, such as, kids being murdered, in school because of whatever. That's the issue that I have with it, because I don't have a problem with anybody wearing a guard ring. You choose to wear whatever you want to wear. But where did this whole idea come from, where teenagers are now seeing okay and making it become a part of their culture as youths, that are still going to school and pretty much saying, hey, this is what we're going to do because of earning an extra dollar, getting an extra dollar because of scamming? That's the issue I have. But where did this influence come from? And we say it, Shell said it earlier, that it came from the music. And we can't go around that, because in recent times, we've heard a lot of songs that have been released, and they're talking about Isle up and Gyad up and Ring and all of that. So that's where that influence comes from in terms of school youth. A walk home with a ring. I know kids, when I used to go to school, they had Bibles. They had a little pocket Bible, or them carry a Bible in them bag. That's a form of protection. But when it comes to the ring now, and the main purpose of that, guys, back in the day, was just to make sure that they're protected and they're covered. Not because they want to scam, and not because they want to make more money. I'm sure most of them never spent $200,000 on the Bible. So it is a thing where the music is what's causing this, and nobody can go around it. Now have nothing to do with politicians, it now have nothing to do with the Obeah culture in Jamaica, it now have nothing to do with whether or not we want to play as if we're speaking from a place of being privileged. No, we're not. We're speaking the truth. It is the influence of the music. It's the trap music. Them youth nowadays somehow kind of learn the culture of a guard ring, and then them totally misuse it. Because me never hear anybody get killed over a gathering yet.
Exactly, because the gathering supposed to, then again, you're never weird, so that's why him could get stabbed.
No, but it wasn't his. It wasn't his.
See, then that the ring I protect the owner.
Exactly.
I'm gonna try thief him coverage and thief him coverage in insurance policy. I end up dead.
Oh, you are thief. Oh, and I mean, me know you laugh, and I am not trying to as if we are insensitive, but it is the truth. It's just stupidity.
It's just stupidity
and greed.
Yeah. See, the thing is this, you know, all right, so I'm not about to get the analogy because it just makes it seem more cynical now that I think about it.
All right.
I was gonna give you the breakdown. For me, that got school, man that walk with Bible, man that put lime in them pocket.
Right.
And I remember one time I said to somebody, say, you know why a man walk with lime in them pocket? And I said, no, I said, tell you something. This was obviously me being stupid, but it could have a little bit of fact in it. I said to him, say, lime elusive, you know. I say, you ever try pick lime yet? When you have a good lime tree and that get big and it balloon and it start growing all different directions. When you pick the lime, if the maca is on the lime tree, joke you. All the next day after you're done get the lime, you still feel the joke of the maca joke you and I'll start scratching. So I said to him, that's why the man go for lime. Because the lime never want you to have it.
Isn't lime and is what lime and garlic they put in the money? They said just in case they give them bad money. That's how it go.
Yeah. Hey, the other day I was in New York. Let me tell you this. The other day I was in New York, right? Because this is not like an Obeah segment, but now that we're on the whole guard thing.
But Obeah night up on line, I thought about.
No, meaning the main focus is the practice of Obeah in Jamaica, but it's Obeah in school, right? So I don't want to stray about the practice of Obeah amongst Jamaicans. So I was heading out one morning and I was passing a restaurant that was run by a Jamaican, a cook shop. You know, we call them restaurants in New York, but they're more like a cook shop because they only have one table with 4 chairs and that's it. And then they sell food from around the counter.
I people them on a Church Avenue I talk about because them people sell good food.
No, not Church Avenue. In fact, I was in Jersey. I was in New Jersey. I went to New Jersey that morning. And I saw the place dry, the ground dry. And you can see where there was water thrown out right in front of the door. And as I'm walking, I just thought it was okay. Somebody dashed the water. Maybe they were cleaning the inside of the restaurant and them kind of throw them water up on the curb or whatever. But guess what me see? Me see 2 lime. Well, 1 lime cut in a 2 halves. I mean, I say, yo, I don't walk over that water, brother. I walk out to the street for the real. I walk out on the road, brother. Come here and say, me not step over them people across whatever they wash and dash it in that the water they throw it out. I mean, if you step on it. But when we look, the actual restaurant wasn't open. I saw what would appear to be the owner and somebody else sitting outside in their car. Me don't know where them are wait pan shells and Gio and our viewers. I don't know what they were waiting. I mean, if them are waiting for the water dry up, I don't know if them are waiting for a time pass to make sure so the evil whatever somebody might set there the night before to kind of bring them business down or whatever. But even in America, I know people that go out and buy candles and burn candles for protection. So as I say, it is not unusual, but this whole practice has come through the music. The influence come from the music. And this comment that I have up, I want to highlight it, where Queen Shaq says that yet they were saying Andrew, should keep his mouth shut because he's blaming the music. I agree and I don't agree. Politicians tend to want to push the whole 100% in terms of blame and pressure, and the onus is on producers and entertainers, and the onus is on the music industry because they are the ones that's causing violence. Now, it contributes to a great amount. Very, 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 very influential. But it's not just music. It's just a culture. But I'm just saying that the music we can identify and we can say this is the key thing right now, because chop, everything I chop, me never know what chop mean to you until what day. Shells, all this time, me never know what chop mean until what day. When somebody say, yo, that brother they are chop and them are chop, me I say, what do you mean by chop? Me, who used to be all up with the jargons as a youth, me used to deal with the slangs, Gio. Them youth have not killer kind of different now. Them man thing. What the next one? One way no make no sense. Like them I said, doubt a lie. Some foolishness them are going with now. So because of the whole chopping culture, every song we release of late, we need to target the tiki them, especially with them new crop of artists. Them afia sing about chopping in night. Afia sing about geared up. Even Silk Boss the other day on the interview with the Nightly Fixed, he mentioned that to his former manager that he's going to see a physician. In other words, he might go to Obeah, man. So, Bridgin, hey, now when they get to the part where now creating problems in schools, that's where you have a problem. I don't care anybody want to go walk Obeah, I don't care, because them say believe kill and believe cure. So if you don't believe in a Obeah, that's your business. Believe in a Obeah, that's your business. But when it becomes an issue in schools where people are being killed, that is an issue for me. And hear what the principal say? The principal said when they try to search to confiscate these items, them hide them stop wearing them. They were wearing them in schools. I think it's also a part of a fashion statement as well, because sometimes them ring they even have nothing in them, you know. Because I think somebody mentioned that, you know, say, who tell them say the ring? I don't remember what.
Fully loaded.
Right, fully loaded, right. Sell them a ring and say 200,000. That's a scam. Them want on scammer and them I get scam. Well, me never have a gear ring, so me can't call it scam. I just can't wrap my mind around it. Anyway, let's move on from that. So recently I was going through, speaking of which, I want to show you guys this because somebody sent me this this video, and I think I wanted to share it with you guys, what a gathering did to somebody's finger. Can you believe it? This is what gathering do to somebody's finger. You see that? The image is very disturbing, guys. So please, I threw that out there from now. It's very disturbing. Do you see that? No, that's heights of stupidity. Because I don't think the ring, because it geared up, burned to the point where it's almost infused with the man's finger. Him just never want to take off the ring there, or the ring couldn't come off because he forced the ring there on his finger. Clearly, you can see that that's not his fit.
The boss power up, you know, fuse the ring now, chopper.
Exactly. Hey. Let's listen to the audio because maybe you get a better idea of the audio. Hold on.
When I talk about Bumbuck gathering, it's what real gathering details.
I apologize. See? You see, I never want to play the audio.
Champions.
No, I feel bad now because I wasn't going to play the audio.
Nobody could have expected that.
And Joe, no feel bad because something happened to me for morning radio. Tuesday morning, we had some guests in studio. I'll tell you what happened after you. Don't feel bad. Everything good.
No, man, but
I was ready to take my bag and walk out studio Tuesday morning because Mr. Certain said, Bossy, I go call. Give it to me. You're good, man.
No, it's because last week I played a video, and the thing is, I listened to the video, but I didn't want to play the audio. And you see, because we need to get a gathering, maybe I need to get it.
It depends on where you want guard from, you know, and Joe. Nobody go out guarding them all bad, you know. And the purpose and the intention of the guard, do all of that you say. You need a crosses guard.
Yeah,
you know?
because if you work,
crosses away.
If my work, me get money. Money doesn't drop out of the sky, so if I work, me get money. But me just know, say, hey, listen, all right. So, that's what a guard ring does to your finger when you don't take it off because it's too tight and because you believe that the guard ring can guard you.
So it fuses with your skin.
Yeah, yo, you know, see how the thing become one.
You ever watch them movie there, Lord of the Rings and all them things there? Man, I become one of the ring. The man power up.
Jesus, Father. I know I'm gonna get a text. I know I'm gonna get a text soon. Anyhow, so recently, guys, I've been, you know, going through social media, IG to be exact, and I saw, you know, a few images that came up and is very surprising. Some of them is very disturbing. For example, this is not uncommon, guys, and I don't want nobody feel like say the youth them just start sell ganja at school. I know Bridget and Bridget used to come to school, you know, smell a weed after them get lunch break and them wear shades coming to the class. So we're not saying that them youth are out of hand. Now, these kids are selling coconut drops infused with marijuana. And that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy because I've never seen that one before. It says that two St. Catherine-based high school boys have been arrested and charged with breaches of the Dangerous Drug Act. They were held with ganja yesterday during a search as part of the police crackdown. Yesterday, at the time when this was posted 2 days ago, during a search as part of the police crackdown on violence in schools, the boys are booked to appear in the St. Catherine Parish Court. The police says they seized coconut drops infused with ganja and numerous weapons, including knives, scissors, and jammers from students. Now, this other clip that I'm going to slide, right? Combs, those are easily concealed as, you know, personal items, like personal effects and stuff. You bring a comb to comb your hair, you know, it's not unusual for females, especially when you kind of get, you know, into the 9th grade or 10th grade, them tetivate a lot after school and before school. The compasses, though, how do they know that these are weapons, though? That part
see, it depends on which school that they're going to, Andrew. When I was in high school, I go JC.
But you'd have a geometry set, though, bro. And
no, you have a geometry set, but the thing is, as students, as boys, as children in general, you start losing things that the set never remains a set. You just have things strewn out in your bag. And people used to go and people used to buy particular sets because them compass that it have longer, sharper, more malleable points than others, so them could have turned them into weapons easy.
Right.
Like when you could have get the one where like you split it all the way and it go from end to end instead of have the little V where I connect and all that. Like them used to be well creative. Even the comb them used to do so. You melt up the comb enough, put fire to it, melt up the comb enough, and then when it are hard, you get to shape back the tip even sharper than the tip.
Oh, we get it. Yeah, it's like shafts for prison.
Exactly.
You know, inmates.
So,
yeah,
everything we well up on this is a weapon.
Yeah, but even you know, a toothbrush where obviously it has polish. It looks like what appears to be polish or dye.
Oh yeah, the glass.
Is where I come from, but you know that I mean I know it can create damage, but half I feel like half of these things that they confiscate are just actual regular instruments for students. The knives,
the nail clipper, may sit to the far left, so could that go on?
Yeah.
The nail clipper.
That look like a bottle opener or something like that, like a cork, whatever.
Yeah, a wine bottle opener.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's definitely something that they carry to school as a weapon. I can see that. You know what I mean? No, this other is that one of them retractable buttons that police officers walk with?
Yep.
Dominoes. Okay, I get it. Dominoes. But they don't
nightstick.
The nightstick they call it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But what braids like here? Like loose here? What's going on?
What's the powder in the bag? Right there to the left.
Very good question. Very good question. All right, mirrors, right? It's not unusual. It's not uncommon for students to walk around with mirrors because they want to see what they look like prior to going, you know, in class, and after when they go hit the road, they want to, you know, look nice because maybe there are no mirrors in the bathroom. Not every school, I think. I don't think there was mirrors in our bathroom at school. I don't remember. I mean, I left school almost 20 years ago, so I don't remember that. But mirrors, though, I mean, I get it that it could be used as a weapon, but you know. I don't know. Some of these things, I think, rulers, metal ruler, though. So in any words, you can use your transport, you can use your book bag or a knapsack, as we'd call them in Jamaica, as a weapon. But it's very disturbing though. I won't lie. I won't lie. This slide, definitely, Gio, I would say take away. You now do clothing and textile, and you have certain
Exactly.
and you should leave it in that class or whatever if you have a lock or whatnot. But definitely, yo, look at the amount of scissors,
Messy barber scissors. Messy.
surgical scissors, all
The
of them.
one exactly the one them were there to the bottom, so them one there some tail of them teeth them from the one them to the bottom left them their kitchen scissors they used to cut chicken. Like so you don't know them the vicious already. I feel like when it comes to school, you should just leave it to the simple paper scissors, the plastic one them so you can cut paper.
I mean, and as I said, anything can be used as a weapon. So I'm not saying that it is, take away all of this from them, but boy, for them drag all of this. Shells, do you believe that, we're getting worse in terms of our safety and security in our schools?
Yes, at this stage where the country is and what we see being perpetuated is before COVID. I hear people talking about, oh, as COVID done. No, because a lot of schools in Kingston, especially corporate area, I should say, have been beefing up security, and they're trying to, I think some security have metal detecting the handle, the devices. I think we're at the stage where they need to install, just like when you go through airport, you have to go through, yes, that has to be the case now, where you have to have them go through these security checkpoints to ensure that they have no weapons on them. There should be also mandatory searching of the school compound, be it the classroom or wherever it is. There should be mandatory searches done of those areas at intervals. You can't do it at the same time every day either.
Right.
Something has to be done because these things that are happening have to be mitigated. It just can't just be, it just can't continue the way it is, because very soon we can't say the boys alone because we see the girls doing the same thing too. So, because I used to fight when I was going to school.
But you know what's funny? Hold on, before we get into that, Shells, you mentioned about Poros High School. They have
Andrew,
a security checkpoint.
I didn't hear a word you said before Poros High School.
I'm saying here we're looking at a clip from Poros High School. Are you guys still seeing it?
Yes, we're still seeing it.
Right. Okay. So as you mentioned, but what they're searching for in particular are cell phones, and it's just like you said, going through the airport. They have that tray or that basket where they put their personal items in, such as maybe their wallets and money, lunch money and all of that, and then they scan the bags. So at least Poros High School is doing that, and in fact, a lot of schools in America, they have been doing that. I mean, you have to go through a metal detector to kind of detect, what's in your bag and so on and so forth. But what stood out to me is that this person commented, I don't think taking away kids' phone is right. You can take the phone away when the child enter the premises and give back when child leave the compound. But I think what's happening is that sometimes when we go on social media and we make or comments, we don't really take into consideration the long-term effect. What I think they're saying is that if they're caught with the cell phone or anything that is not allowed on campus, they would confiscate and hold it for a number of days, and then the parents will have to come and retrieve it. And I agree with that. Why do you need to even take cell phone into a classroom anyway, or even have a cell phone being on in a classroom? You know what can happen? Them now go spend the time or focus on with the teacher. Pretty much, I teach. Them are going to on social media. We who they work more time upon our phone and I work we day. Imagine children, imagine students. So I agree, Shells. I think the Ministry of Education need to use the money that is being misappropriated by a lot of their members to put better security measures in schools, especially in this time. Mr. Reed, who stole one bag of money, make Mr. Reed donate 50 of them metal detector there and put them across Jamaica in high schools. But what I was going to say to you guys before I went to the Porous video, the Porous high school video, you realize that it is like the 2 or 3 recent videos that we've seen surfaced between female students, and they're being very, very, very aggressive and violent. So I'm not excusing
the two where they stab each other like relentlessly. I was like, yo.
Yeah.
There was no thought of there's no thought of when I'm done swinging this, the person in front of me might be dead. I was like, wow, these little girls are going.
Do you realize how angry of a society we live in and uncompassionate society we live in? Like people will, like, I keep my circle in such a way for years now, where if you are somebody who loves to share pictures of persons who have died or accidents and violent things that have happened to people, gruesome things that have, if you're that kind of person, I don't friend you on social media, and you and I are not friends on WhatsApp for you to send me anything, because people are desensitized and becoming uncompassionate. If it's not their people, then just another.
Exactly.
People are so, and people will tell you go on social media and you say, send me the videos, and I'm saying, why do you want to see the video of somebody's head almost decapitated? Like, where we are, like, a lot of that have got to change, and we have to go back to being our neighbors, keep on being at a place where if you don't see your neighbor for 2 days, you wonder where them there, you start ask, because this is not Mass Jones. He used to pass here, so by 9 o'clock every night, blah, blah, blah. We're not that society anymore. And angry. If me pass a school student on the road now, and me brush them too hard, me more inclined to say, sorry, I move it right along. More than anything else. Even if I them step on my foot. Let it be the opposite. Them step on my foot, me rather apologize to them and move on, because they will undress you on the road and be mean there. Angry.
And this is not music. This is not music. This is just a breakdown of society.
Breakdown of society. This is coming from home.
Exactly.
This is coming from home mostly.
The neighborhood, the community where they live in is what you see, where people turn. All right. I think it started, Shells, when parents stop. And I think for some parents, they were trying to protect their kids from being abused, physically abused by, bullies or adults who tend to prey on kids and physically abuse them. But when do we draw the line? When do we draw the line to say, okay, abuse is discipline? Remember when they say it takes a village? I think when is start going to school and attack teachers for discipline, down the road, school that child, and the child goes home and complains to his or her mom, rough shells.
Okay.
Well, under the internet I am not working with tonight at all.
So I think I know where Andrew was going with this.
Yeah, for real.
I would say that he's right. I remember I used to say to people that I me personally, I miss when everyone else was able to parent everyone else's children.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what we have now, Shells, is a rash of children who used to get that treatment and they resented it. And these children now have had their own
Own
host of
children,
children.
yes.
So because them never want nobody chat to them when them I did pitney and nobody for
Right.
the same life for them they
I
want to
agree.
live then. They just say, tell them pitney, say, oh, nobody know if it touch about me, right? And if it, so yeah, it happens. And I remember one of the last times me there in Jamaica, I was on a bus and some high school students, we don't even know which school them there. But it was the 30 route. And the 30 route, one of the longest route from the town, go straight into Pembroke, all you never see. Me said the bus route long shells to the point they were drop asleep. And there were some teenagers on the bus, boy and girl, and they were all ridiculing this old lady. I said this old lady to the point that I got so upset that I get up and I started to shout. And I said to them, so me tell you something. All when I 7 now, me still take 300 to make one of me. And if I hear one more say anything to this old lady, me I wanna go have it out. To the point when the driver hear me say that, driver say, all right, you know how the man have to do them. Now the driver stopped the bus and say, oh, I want to come off. And that was it.
Yep.
And I just knew at the point in time, say, like, children are just different these days. Where like, it's like,
because in a jail, even if just hold on just a second, even if it is that we want to protect our children, because we know the world has changed and we want to, protect our children. But if not the majority of people that would abuse their child or take advantage of a child, it's not the majority. And if you live in a community, you must be able. And if you see, it's where you're coming from, because of that resentment. We don't want to know who our neighbors are anymore because we not gonna want them to watch with pitney. Somebody come tell me something that our children have done because somebody they tell our parents that we do something we'll probably never do or we get beaten for it. We don't want nobody watch with pitney them again because more than likely, it's gonna be. So we're trying to change it, but in the wrong way. So I guess you're right.
Yeah,
it's a cycle for two. So as you were saying,
children having children.
So principles and moral standards and all of those things are out the window. And people find bad as good and wrong as right, and everybody's okay with everything because everybody has a right, but nobody has a responsibility. Teachers can't talk to students in schools again because either parents are going to beat them or Ministry of Education are going to get on top of them. So it's like the hands are tied and children just running loose.
Yeah.
No chickens have come home to roost.
Am I back?
Yes,
you're back.
Oh, wow.
We held it down. Don't worry about it. How I look at it, Shells, I feel like we have gone so far from the model that we used to have to the point where we are trying to live up to all the standards that are being created outside. Oh, you don't do this anymore. You don't do that anymore. You put a child in timeout. You this, you that, you that. You restrict their privileges. And we don't understand that we are not them. And I'm not saying that some of the things don't make sense enough. But when we were growing up and we got punished, we never got abused. Our parents never tried to chop off with. But we get the licks them up people on the straight and narrow so that we don't say, oh, this is another road they want to trod. And now everybody just have this free form way of thinking where like anything that is outlandish that people come up with and say, this is how you parent now. As soon as somebody outside the Jamaican border said, everybody in Jamaica say, yes, that's what we're aiming for. So we are becoming so Americanized, Canadianized, whatever you want to call it, whichever other culture.
We're coming Western.
We're becoming so anized in everything that we are losing the things that made us who we used to be. And because of that, it's just moral decay all across society. We already have all the issues we have to deal with endemic to us, like the issues that were natural to Jamaican people where we don't can't deal with already. And then we are making it worse by adopting principles that are not like us to try and fix situations that are completely different from the use cases in America and all of the other places. I know the work.
What I want to ask you guys though, and for the question, obviously there is no form of safety and security in schools, especially in high school. I see that one or two schools, a few schools have been trying to curb it somehow, but they're still failing. because it's not today that they're having random checks in school, that they check school bags and so on and so forth. But hey, we've seen an uptick in that happening. Do you think that the Ministry of Education now, as opposed to having private security companies manning the gates, do you think that police officers should be deployed in schools? Should be posted in schools?
Police, the army, and parents should help to pay for it. Parents should help to pay for beefed up security at schools.
Hold on, already with a minimum wage that they can't even afford to survive on a daily though? Do you think that?
Then look at it. If they are part of the problem, then let them help pay for the security. Because especially high schools and primary school where education is free. Suppose they were supposed to pay for education, what would be the outcome? So if they can contribute to paying security companies and deploying army, because right now for me, this is not a fight, this is war.
Yeah.
And police don't fight war. Because I saw a video of a schoolboy and a police officer, and he had a better angle on the police than the police had at him, especially the fact that the police had on a vest. The youth was getting the upper hand on him. Me not think he would have get the upper hand on a soldier at all.
That's true.
For me, I think Jamaica is in a place where a state of emergency is needed for the level of crime that is happening and is being perpetuated everywhere. It's not just one place. Me can live over Portland and say, oh, me safe over here, so.
Right.
You understand? Because it's here too. Not just as much, it's not yet infested, but it is here. You understand? So we have to do what we have to do. And if as parents you want your children to be safe at school and we're at the level where them need security, help pay feed because school fee free, which it shouldn't be, but hey.
All right. I have less than 3 minutes to go, guys. Here's my final question for both of you. Do you think that if a student, for example, the female student or the two female students who have physically, harmed another student, or whether male or female, let me not just narrow it down to them two students. Do you think that students in general, if they're arrested for assaulting another student, should the parents be held accountable as well?
Yes, of course.
That's very tricky.
Just parents are responsible for their children.
Gio,
and a lot of times, I agree. Parents have to work, because remember when me have to work and me have to leave my children unsupervised. You understand? Because they perhaps can't afford babysitter or whatever, and your rest of relatives working too. But at the same time, you still have to find a way to instill that discipline. So we can't absolve the parents of it. What I want from the government side, though, is to train more social workers and counselors and install them in our schools, because our parents are going through a lot and their children are going through a lot, and people need to be able to vent in a positive way without resorting to violence. The social workers and the guidance counselors are overwhelmed, Andrew. Believe me. Mm-hmm. Them alone can manage 300 students in our school.
Gio, do you agree that parents should actually take up the burden as well as the kids being arrested?
Well, yeah, because the parents share a certain amount of responsibility. As she was pointed out, a lot of people like to highlight, what your parents are doing and who has to be working and whatnot. But the funny thing is, when you decide whether or not of your own volition or by some happenstance that you're going to make a next life, you automatically resign yourself from living for yourself, even though the job where you go out to go work, if you can provide for that life where you income, your life becomes secondary to that which you have made. And in so doing, you need to understand some level of time management. Yeah, I understand, say, work and you're this and you're that, but guess what? You have other responsibilities, and what you need to do is try and map out how you go about it. Whether or not it be the case, you can do it right in front of the picnic face, or when the two on reach home evening time, you say, come sit down, come show me what you're doing at school, let me know, say, I learned something. You have to have some level of input in your child's life other than me saying I go to school, me get lunch money. There is a certain level of accountability that you need to have. And it's as simple as, who are you apart? Who are your friend? We need to know your friend. No one see what a friend they be. Like, there's just some simple things that you can do if you know where your child is headed and how you can help. Because even though secondary socialization is a thing and peer pressure exists and whatnot, I keep saying it. All we did have with time and we did bad.
Mm-hmm.
And all we did have the same opportunities to be the worst versions of ourselves. And something obviously happened with how we were parented, whether or not by our birth parents or adoptive parents, that brought us to the point where we are now. So everybody can do it.
I agree. But all right. In closing, guys, I feel like the ministry needs to do more. As Shell says, they need to have more social workers working on the administration team in terms of, helping out with guidance councils, because some guidance councils, not all of them, but some of them definitely just collecting a paycheck, and some are actually working and they are overwhelmed. Teachers themselves are not there. The dean of discipline thing doesn't work because the dean of discipline himself needs to be disciplined in some cases. So at the end of the day, we know that we're in a society on the decline. And as we have established that a lot of things have influenced our youth, Gio just said it. Gio says that you can become the worst version of yourself and you can become the best version of yourself. However, I don't really agree with holding parents accountable in all cases, because sometimes, according to Gio, again, peer pressure can sometimes influence a child to do bad, and anger and society in itself. But at the end of the day, collectively, we all need to play a role. I do believe that if you as a parent been told by the school that your child is out of hand, is being unruly, and you turn a blind eye, I feel like anything that happens after that should fall on your shoulder. That's where I would trust.
And also to add to that, Andrew, if your child, the way how some of these things are taken care of, the child does something, the parent is called in, and a little bit of talking is happening in the principal's office, and the child is allowed back in school and the parent goes home. And a lot of times that's where it stays. Nothing is put in place to mitigate further happenings, with that child. And as we say, it's because the school system is overwhelmed already. So therefore, guidance council are busy. They get one partial session, and that is it. More has to be done. And
this is why I said if the student is an offended and repeated offender, I feel like the parent, in that case, the parent, I think, should be held.
Not every case, though. Not because I said that don't mean every case. We know, say, I just saw it out, but it couldn't be every case.
I mean, I get it.
It couldn't be every case. But and we need the fathers, Andrew. We need a lot of fathers. We are the fathers. If we have more fathers, more responsible fathers in our society, your children would be better, I strongly feel so. That's my opinion.
That's true. I'm glad you said that, because we always feel like, a mother is always the best parent. But hey, both parents, when it comes together, always. Thank you guys so much, Gio. Thank you, Shells. Thank you guys so much. Peace, love, and light. Shells, I'll call you after this because I want to hear about the mix-up that happened Tuesday morning on live radio. So I'll give you a call. All right. Respect. Peace out. All right, guys. So that's it for another episode of VVL. We've gone a little bit over time, but that's just because we're having great conversations. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Natalie, thank you so much. Carrie, thank you. Queen Shaq, thank you. Jeannie, thank you. Nicole, thank you. Everybody that made a contribution to this show in terms of way of commenting. I really appreciate it. Catch you all next week, same time, same place, for another episode of VVL Podcast. I'm out.
Welcome to VAL'S Views Live Podcast. Real news, real talk, real views. Join us weekly for social, political, and religious commentaries, analytically dissecting viral news and more. When they mix it, we'll fix it. Unorthodox and unfiltered views. This is VAL'S Views Live, the podcast edition. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Watch it live in Jamaica on Hype TV and across the Caribbean. Stream it live on Facebook, YouTube. Don't miss it.